Have you ever noticed that some people seem to bounce back from life's hardest moments, while others stay trapped in the same emotional patterns for years? Why is that? Is it simply luck? Or does our mindset play a much bigger role than we realize? Today, we're exploring the fascinating connection between stress, the brain, the heart, and the way our emotional state shapes our relationships, and possibly even our physical well being. This isn't about pretending that positive thinking can cure every illness. Instead, it's about understanding how our thoughts and emotions influence the choices we make every single day. Because whether we're trying to heal from heartbreak, rebuild our confidence, or create healthier relationships, one thing is certain: the person we become matters. Hello, all, and welcome to yet another episode of Love Hacks. I'm Renee, your host, and today we'll be going through: could your mind be keeping you stuck? The hidden link between stress, healing, and love. Mikala is off right now. That's why it's just going to be me today. So I hope you enjoy this podcast and listen closely. All right. So we become the story we repeat. Many people spend years believing they cannot change, not because change is impossible, but because they never see anyone else do it. Think about it. When someone around us accomplishes something that once seemed impossible, it suddenly feels more realistic. Their success doesn't guarantee ours, though, but it expands our imagination. Instead of asking, can anyone really change? We begin asking, if they can, maybe I can too. And that's a pretty powerful shift. But yes, the example needs to be set in order for us to enter that mindset, right? Now, real change is rarely beautiful. Indeed, one thing that people often misunderstand is transformation. Movies make it look easy, sure. Real life doesn't. Personal growth is messy. Some days you feel stronger. Other days, you'll wonder whether you've made any progress at all. Sometimes your old habits seem even louder before they finally fade away. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, this is so hard. I'm going to give you guys the classic example of exercise. A lot of people, sedentary people, or people who are simply just not into exercising, find it dreadfully difficult to begin. But when we see someone who's been like us in that sense, not my case, by the way, I do exercise every day, even though might not show, but I do it. I either swim or cycle, or I don't have a car, yada, 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 that's me. But a lot of people really, either they're blessed with the genes where they feel they don't really have to push themselves to exercise, or they just don't care for it. Maybe they just enjoy watching movies or reading or painting instead of doing some physical activity. So when we see someone who's like that suddenly begin to exercise, and then we actually see results after some months, then we start thinking, well, hey, if she can do it, I can do it, right? And when we begin that journey, whether it's exercise or something else, at first we feel motivated, but then suddenly the past will come crawling from behind, and we'll st- we'll su- we'll suddenly feel that we've made absolutely no progress. And so, yeah, that's when the old habits seem even louder before they finally fade away. And that's all very normal. And I mean, I gave the example of exercise, but there's a bunch of things, you know, that we can talk about. Taking a course in AI or a maths course, or if you're very good at maths, a language course, or doing extreme sports. Maybe you've always wanted to do them, but you've been very scared, and then finally you decide to do it, and you're scared shitless the first time you jump out of an airplane with a parachute and obviously a coach, right? I mean, the uh, uh, it's endless, right? The options are endless. So growth, personal growth usually looks like taking one step forward. And as the cliche says, or sorry, the expression says, one step forward, then two steps back, right? Because you jump into it and then you kind of want to retreat a lot of the time. Same with relationships. If you've always been an introvert and you've been interested in someone who's very extroverted, um, and suddenly you grow you get the courage, you muster up the courage to talk to that person, and it turns out they're into you as well. Well, that's all very well, and you guys start dating. But then when you meet your first crossroads, what are you going to do? Bail? Or are you going to express your disappointment, or are you just going to stay quiet? If you're one of those people who keeps quiet for fear of losing that person, well, and I'm not going to lie to you, folks. Some people can't take the heat. Like, if you disagree with them on something, they may not ever talk to you again. And yes, I have been through that, absolutely. But you know what? And it hurt. But today I'm thankful because this relationship was going absolutely nowhere. I'm using myself as an example. I'm not saying be rude, but at the same time, yes, set your limits, your boundaries, because if you don't set them, and Mikala and I have mentioned this before, if you don't set them from let's say from the third date or whatever, you're never going to be able to set them. It's very difficult. So you have to draw the line. Like, if you want to be sexually exclusive with somebody, you better say it. If they agree to it and fail later, the bad's on them, and you don't need to stay with them. If you agree on sharing bills, and then it turns out the guy is a loafer or a grifter, the bad's on them. And even if they can't come around to seeing your viewpoint, or they try to avoid dealing with what you're seeing and feeling and saying, well, then it's obvious that this relationship was doomed from the start, right? So communication is key. We've said it over and over. But going back to things in general, you can't throw in the towel. Okay, you jumped in, you take two steps back, and then if you do reach an agreement with the person, you try to continue with your boundaries set and their boundaries set as well. The people who eventually transform aren't always the most talented. They're often the ones who simply refuse to stop showing up and to throw in the towel unless there's no way out. So yeah, you keep going. unless there's no way out, right? Okay, so belief comes before evidence. Here's something interesting. Many people wait until they see results before believing. But lasting change usually works in reverse. You act first, you practice first, you keep going first. Only later do the results begin to appear. We go back to the gym or exercise. And I mean, don't think for a split second that if you're going at it on the treadmill 5 days a week for a month, you're going to see incredible results. You're not. Your heart rate might improve, sure, but physically it's going to take some time, right? Uh, with partners or with your partner. If you and your partner are, working on some project together, you need to work hard. You need to put in the hours to see that project materialize. It's not going to happen overnight. That just doesn't happen, right? Um, and so in relationships, if you don't believe you deserve healthy love, you often return to the same unhealthy dynamics. Not because that's what you truly want, no, but because it's what feels familiar. So you don't really want that, but it's what feels familiar because you're used to that. You know, you've watched that film a billion times with different partners. This is yet another partner. And you're building the same sort of, well, you're writing the same sort of script for it, and the outcome is going to be similar. And this is where your chance to grow comes in. You have to change the direction of the script. Don't go down the same rabbit hole. All right? And I know it's easier said than done, but that's how it is, right? Now, the body doesn't always know the difference. So let's talk about stress. Imagine you're running late for work. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your phone won't stop ringing. Your mind begins racing. Your heart beats faster. Your muscles tighten. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your body reacts as though you're facing immediate danger. The interesting part? Sometimes nothing dangerous is actually happening. You're simply thinking about everything that could go wrong. Our brains are incredibly powerful prediction machines. When we repeatedly imagine worst-case scenarios, our bodies often respond as if those scenarios are already happening. And again, we can use this for relationships. You feel something's not running well in your current relationship, and you've let things slide once or twice, maybe 3 times, maybe 10 times. And deep down inside, that little voice is saying, you know what, this is not right. This is not cool. I don't like this. Listen to your body, because if you don't, it'll just get more stressed out. If there is something that is deeply bothering you, for example, I mentioned being sexually exclusive, and you came to this agreement with the person. Maybe you're not going to live together or anything, but you have an arrangement, right? And then you notice that this person you're seeing is very flirtatious, not just with you, with a few people, even though he or she claims to be with you. And this might trigger something in you, and it's just better to address it before it gets out of hand, because you guys made an agreement. And flirting around in your face is not what you settled on. Sure, this person is not openly cheating on you, but it is uncomfortable to have to deal with that sort of flirtation repeatedly. And you already said, look, discretion. And, the person asks you about your friends and things like that that just don't. And you're like, am I exaggerating? Or no, this is not, I'm not liking this. I know a person who went through this, not, she was very smart. She was dating a really good looking guy back in her youth. And she told me that the guy, was the life of the party. Every time they went out, the guy knew loads of people. And she kind of noticed he was a little flirty. And it wasn't he wasn't being overtly flirty, but, what really ended it was that one time at a party, he left her. She was talking with other people, male and female, and he sort of drifted off to talk to one girl in particular and was extremely flirty with her, getting her drinks and, basically, you know, paying attention to her, but way too much, even though this lady and the guy were a couple. And that right there, that complete lack of respect. Because no, it wasn't just casual. It was heavily flirtatious. That's when she said, "You know what? I'm not going to deal with this. If I'm seeing this now, there doesn't seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel." So that very evening, she broke up with him. She said, "You know what? Yeah, I think we shouldn't see each other anymore." The guy was devastated. He begged her. He said, "No, no, no, I'll never do it again." But she said, "No, you already did it. You already did it. I'm your girlfriend. Well, sorry, I am now your ex-girlfriend. You are free as a bird to flirt with whomever you want." Because they had a nonverbal agreement about respecting each other. Like, you couldn't be friends with males and females. Friendship is one thing, but heavy flirtation and the fact that they'd agreed, like, she'd never done that to him, and she could do it if she wanted to. And she said, "No, that's it. I wish you well. Goodbye." She ended up marrying somebody completely different, and that was that. And that's the thing, you see, right there was growth because she said, "This is not right for me. The guy might not be the worst guy on earth, but this is not right for me. And if I continue with this guy, all I'm doing is putting things to the side and missing out on other opportunities." So when you see that, that is personal growth because you're realizing that this person isn't meant for you for whatever reason. And you need to move on, whether you're going to stay single or get involved with somebody else. But you need to turn the page, right? And there she avoided loads of stress and getting sick and getting heartbroken and being disappointed. She was disappointed. Um, she was very disappointed that night, but that was it. She put an end to her future suffering. I mean, maybe she cried a few days or whatever, but at the end of the day, she did the right thing. You see? As the expression says, one door closes, another one opens, right? Okay, so now why does stress make love all the harder? When we're under constant stress, our attention becomes very narrow. We focus on problems, threats, mistakes. Everything feels urgent. It's like, oh, tension. It makes us sick. We might have stomach problems, headaches. It ages us. Sometimes we can't sleep. In that state, it's difficult to be patient. It's difficult to listen. It's difficult to trust. It's difficult to feel emotionally close to someone else. Really, it is. So, like, if that person is not providing you with, and we have talked about this briefly before, And it's not only in romantic relationships, it's at work. I just met somebody from another country who was having, who is currently experiencing a lot of stress at work because of another coworker. I mean, and he's doing his job and whatever, but it's really taken a toll on him. He's living in another country. His family is in the original country, which is Japan. He's had to adapt to this new country. And on top of it, even though he's giving it his all at the job, there's there are a few people there that are just making his life impossible. Why? Because they don't want him to grow. Same with a romantic relationship. If the person is constantly a source of stress rather than pleasure, they leave you hanging. You arrange something and then it falls to pieces last minute because this person is inconsiderate, doesn't think about your time or anything. Well, that's going to cause you stress, and that will make you both emotionally and physically ill. And is it worth it? Hell no. At work, it's a bit different, but you have to learn to let certain things slide as well, which is the case of this gentleman. But uh, I mean, damn those people, right? Your peace of mind is crucial for your well being, for your spirituality, for your success. And when somebody gets in the way of that, whether it be romantically or professionally or uh, in terms of family, if you can either avoid them or stop them, depending on the situation, do it. Do it because it's not fair, or end it. In the case of a relationship, if that's all you're getting besides, what is it, morsels of bread, you know, get out of it. And I know it's not easy because often they throw that when they feel that you're pulling away, they try to reel you back in with something. Don't be fooled. And as for the job, well, if you can avoid that person or if you can talk to your superior about it, do so. 'Cause it's not fair. As far as we know, we only have one life. So it's not fair that somebody else cause you unneeded stress. It's not fair, right? And being unable to feel comfortable is not fair either. I mean, think about the last time you were overwhelmed. Were you your kindest self? Probably not. Stress doesn't make us bad people. It simply pushes us into survival mode. And survival mode isn't where love grows. No, it isn't. Love needs presence, connection, and safety.
Looking for real conversations about love, connection, and everything in between? Listen to Love Hacks. Honest, heartfelt, and in 4 languages: English, Espanol, Francais, and Portuguese. Find your version wherever you get your podcast. See you soon.
And if you're not getting that in your romantic or love relationship, something's off, right? And if at work it's not that you have that, but at least feeling safe, you're not getting that. Yes, do something about it, right? So I gave 2 pieces of advice here because they do overlap. Because imagine if you're not doing well at work, chances are it's going to affect your relationship and vice versa. If you're not doing well in your love life with your partner, chances are it's going to affect your work. See, they go hand in hand. And also your relationship with your friends and family. So, yeah, you have to be a little selfish. You have to put yourself first. Now, For those of you who have a terrible time breaking the cycle, well, here's some good news. Fortunately, our attention is something we can train. Practices like slow breathing, mindfulness, meditation, or even spending a few quiet minutes away from distractions can help calm our nervous system. Research suggests that slow, controlled breathing can improve heart rate variability, a measure of how flexibly your heart and nervous system respond to stress. Higher heart rate variability is generally associated with better emotional regulation and resilience. Now, that doesn't mean that these practices solve every problem, but they can make it easier to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting automatically. Now that's a challenge in itself, but yeah, if you learn to breathe, in my case, I'm doing more exercise, but also I take, I'm starting to take time. I'm happy to say right now I'm very, very single and at peace. I'll know when I'm ready to engage in another relationship. Maybe I won't. I don't know, but I will tell you that my state of mind, my presence, and I'm speaking selfish, I'm much better than I was. And in part it has to do with getting rid of anxiety as much as I can. And I've done that through taking deep breaths, observing nature, getting a good night's sleep, hanging out with positive people, whether they're my friends or relatives, And you know what? It helps a lot. Swimming also, guys, I really recommend swimming. You swim, you're in the pool. There might be other people there, but you're swimming and it's like you lose yourself. Or when biking too. Or if you like other sports, maybe you like rollerblading, skateboarding, jogging, running, prepping for an Ironman, but your focus shifts and that also helps, right? It I think exercise is one of the best therapies you can have rather than taking to any vice like smoking or drinking or staying up late like a vampire watching old movies because then the next day you're just not going to be as productive. So guys, exercising really does help because once you feel you're improving your body, you're also improving your mind, right? And again, you don't need to be an Olympic medalist. This is just a way, and then meditation alongside that. You can meditate while watching something beautiful, right? And so instead of reacting automatically, you just soothe yourself. And that's exactly what a relationship needs if you're in one, and what you need if you're alone, to soothe yourself, to feel at ease. It'll slow the aging process. And so this brings me to, okay, I mentioned being in a relationship here, but also being on one's own. Well, guys, love starts within. Many of us search for someone else to make us feel peaceful, confident, complete. But if our emotional stability depends entirely on another person, we place enormous pressure on the relationship. Healthy love doesn't erase anxiety. It doesn't eliminate fear. Instead, it gives two emotionally growing people a place to support one another. The stronger your relationship with yourself becomes, the healthier your relationships with others often become as well. So you see, one goes with the other. You go with you, and if you have a partner, with your partner. And if you don't, well, you're good with you. And that's it. I mean, it's not rocket science. But if you're constantly thinking about your partner cheating on you or doing something naughty, maybe getting drunk with his friends or yeah, maybe embezzling you. I mean, the possibilities are endless. If you think of what's he doing now? Why hasn't he texted me? Why didn't I receive a message? Why blah, 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 like all the time? Oh, he's probably gone with his ex-lover, or maybe he's flirting with more women. That is not a place you want to be at. And vice versa for men too. Straight and gay, and in the case of women, straight and lesbian or bisexual or whatever. It's the exact same thing. If you are constantly gnawing at the thought of the person betraying you, then something is wrong. You should not have that feeling all the time. That is not a solid ground for a good relationship. That's it. So it's hard. You have to analyze the situation. Okay, so yeah, I mean, really, guys, check how you feel first, and then check and see how you're doing with your partner if you have one. And if not, just focus on yourself. Hey, do I feel good? Or am I anxious all the time? What can I do to help myself? And like I said earlier, exercise is magnificent. Hobbies are, or going to a concert, a classical music concert with friends, or maybe a rock concert, or maybe a football game. I mean, right now, I'm not saying go to a FIFA game because the tickets are really expensive, but you can watch football. You can watch any sport as well, Like I love hockey games. You release stress that way too. So, guys, I'm going to leave you with these final thoughts. And I want you to know that real transformation isn't magic, it isn't instant, and it certainly isn't easy. But every day we have opportunities to interrupt old patterns, to think differently, to breathe differently, to respond differently. Little by little, those small choices shape who we become. Maybe healing doesn't begin with changing your entire life overnight. You see, that's very abrupt. But rather, perhaps it begins with changing what you practice today. Because every thought you repeat, every habit you reinforce, every emotion you cultivate is quietly becoming part of the person you'll be tomorrow. So ask yourself, what version of yourself are you practicing today? Well, guys, I hope this was insightful. I hope you can benefit from it. I wish you all a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Take care and bye.
If this episode resonated with you, make sure to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.